It's good to be with all of you again today. We're in week 5 of the Superintendent's Vision Cast for the Southern Michigan Conference. Our mission is to partner together to ignite a spirit-fueled movement of disciples, leaders, and churches. We've employed the image of a tall, masted ship under full sail as our image of the Spirit's wind propelling us forward in the mission of Jesus. In the past 4 weeks, we've been taking a closer look at the 4 individual sails we are hoisting to catch the fresh wind of the Spirit in our day. Last week, we unfurled and took a closer look at the sail of mobilized prayer. And this week, we want to unfurl and take a closer look at the sail of developing disciples. Our dream is for every church to effectively develop and deploy disciple makers. That's why we've hosted a conference-wide Discipleship Intensive in early November to begin resourcing the leaders of our conference with some helpful tools to get us reacquainted with the one thing Jesus called us to do before his ascension in Matthew 28. This priority became clear to us late last year when we conducted our annual evaluations of our pastors and church boards. In these evaluations, we asked this question: what resourcing need do you have that the conference can provide? And guess what topic was at the top of the list for our church boards? That's right, disciple making. And interestingly enough, disciple making was also identified as a top need from our pastoral team as well. Last year, a national study was conducted indicating that only 5% of local churches, 5%, have a reproducible discipleship plan in place. That means 95% of churches aren't doing this work and probably don't know how. However, what we know is that enacting a reproducible discipleship plan is what makes a church a church. It is the reason why the church around the world is growing at such a rapid pace in places like Latin America, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. However, the church in North America has substituted disciple making for simply attending church. Spiritual amnesia has settled across the North American landscape, while all around the world, the church is rapidly growing because it is making disciples that make disciples. Disciple making lies at the core of our shared mission as the people of God. It was core to the mission of Jesus, who personally made disciples that made disciples. It was core to the mission of the early church, where we find the disciples making disciples that made disciple. Paul wrote these words to Timothy: that the things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. 2 Timothy 2:2. Disciple making must be returned to the core of the mission of the Southern Michigan Conference. In fact, if a church isn't making disciples that make disciples, it simply isn't the church. I'm inviting you to dream with me about becoming a network of churches that are filled with people who are personally committed to the mission of Jesus in the world, the mission of disciple making. I'm inviting you to consider how you may join Jesus in his work and begin taking another person that God has given you influence and begin the work of leading them into a deeper experience of God and a richer understanding of the call of God to Christ-formed likeness and multiplication. Spirit-fueled movements are characterized by people, just like you and I, who are both deeply formed in Christ and contagious as we invite other people into this life Christ has given to us.